Are there like towns where it's one house and then a couple miles and another house? Is that how it all is there?
Kind of a dinky little town. Didn't really appeal to me too much just because it's a small town. It doesn't seem like anything was really going on. Nothing too positive about it, I guess.
In Nebraska, there are 532 communities. 400 of these communities have less than 1,000 residents. Recent census figures indicate that more than 80% of Nebraska's communities showed a loss in population, and half of those lost at least 10% or more.
The way I look at it, what I want to go into, there's just not jobs here for that.
While many small communities across Nebraska lost population, larger metropolitan counties and cities gained more residents under the age of 18 than in the past 15 years. Young people are leaving small-town life behind, and most will not return.
You know, I see my generation growing up and moving into wanting to leave, wanting to go and try something different. And I think that's awesome. I think in our age, we need to.
In the panhandle of Nebraska, the population is aging. In the year 2000, only the population of Dawes County showed a median age of younger than 35. Schools in rural communities have closed or consolidated.
No dad wants to move their family out to a community where, you know, he doesn't have a job or he doesn't see positive things.
Only 3 counties in Nebraska showed an increase in the race for jobs between 1982 and 2007. All others showed decreases. All of the Panhandle counties showed a decrease in the number of jobs available.
My grandfather moved here in the 20s. He came out with an uncle when they were breaking sod.
In the early 1900s, almost 40% of the total population of the United States lived on farms. By 2000, that number had drastically declined to just over 1%. Family farms are disappearing, and the rural way of life is being left behind.
Our average age now is in the 70s for farmers. This is the last-ditch effort to keep a few families here.
Years of drought and a changed economy has added to the stress of an already struggling Western Nebraska population. The signs of the economic challenges that face us are everywhere. Businesses have closed, jobs have disappeared, and people are leaving Western Nebraska. It's not difficult to imagine the worst that could happen.
I think money should be the last reason why we don't do something. And sadly enough, I think it's oftentimes the first reason why we don't do something.
Nebraska's P-16 initiative is a program that could address the problems that we're facing here in the Panhandle. It has elements of traditional thinking and new concepts that could reverse the downward spiral that we currently find ourselves in.
It's an integrated system of people working together to help all learners keep on learning.
P-16 isn't an easy solution, and there's no one way to interpret it or to benefit from it. It's all about learning to be successful as a region.
It's quite a shift to come away from just worrying about your own little place and start thinking more regionally about what's best for all of us. What's best for one of us is best for all of us.
In order to nurture economic development, education and business must go hand in hand. An educated workforce is essential.
But it could also increase the number of families that move to our community, because now the word's out that there's some really high-quality education going on in Western Nebraska.
Panhandle P-16 is all about using existing resources and working together to make them more efficient. It's not about any one agency, organization, or even any one community.
At our school, Garden County High School, we do have a one-to-one initiative, which means that every student ideally has their own computer.
Nebraska currently has among the highest rates of high school graduation in the United States. Our schools seem to have a lot going for them, but is it enough?
We do need to make preliminary schooling a little more difficult. Like, I wouldn't say high school is completely easy by any means. I mean, just look at my pre-calc grade, and obviously I'm still getting challenged in some of my classes. But it's also the kind of thing where I know that if I were to go to a foreign country, I could not keep up.
We're only 4% above average in college-going rates, and we're below average for four-year graduation rates.
I had never really planned on having a career, like a real career in anything, because my mom never did and stuff, and I just thought I would get married and not even have to have a job, but that's not how it is now.
A recent study from the Platt Institute showed that rural schools in Nebraska generate a greater percentage of high school graduates who are ready for college or the workforce than do urban schools. In Western Nebraska, we're facing declining enrollment, which means less funding for our schools.
Everybody's a teacher and everybody's a learner. And so if we can put people together and break down some of those walls, our students, whether they're 15 years old or 80 years old, can be excited about learning new things.
It is essential that we create a culture of lifelong learning.
There's a feeling of helplessness that left when I went back to school. I had a goal, something solid that I was doing, something concrete that was going to take me somewhere.
P-16 is all about collaboration and using what we already have to come up with innovative solutions.
Things need to be planned for. And if you're not planning on a better future, you're not going to have one.
I always wanted a business on Main Street, so I grew up on a farm just east of town. And so you could walk into town or ride your bike or ride your horse or whatever.
Mike Piva graduated from Garden County High School in 1982. He went to college and moved to Phoenix, Arizona, where he and his partner, Mark Ferrari, started a wholesale coffee roasting business. 26 years later, he came back to Oshkosh and brought his business with him.
Since we've been here in Oshkosh, we've roasted and produced over 400,000 pounds of coffee that have been individually bagged and shipped out of here, or some made it on the shelf here in the store.
The decision to move the company to Oshkosh made sense because of the nature of the business. The coffee company ships all over the country and into Canada. The central location was a plus, as was the well-known Midwest work ethic.
Why we're in Oshkosh, Nebraska? First, money, low overhead. So we're saving a lot of money. We're keeping our overhead down. We're going to have this facility paid off within 10 years. If we were to do that in another city, larger city, we'd be looking probably at 20 to 30 years.
The unique quality of the business, the production operation, and the retail store have become a point of interest for tourists and have enriched not only Oshkosh, but nearby communities as well, proving that success together can happen in the most unlikely places. The small is beautiful philosophy is perfect in so many ways.
We went through years of drought where it was really hard to raise a crop. We had the idea that if we could just raise this, I think we could sell it.
25 years ago, the idea of organic farming was unheard of, but that's when Mark and his wife began to explore the possibility of raising crops without using pesticides or herbicides.
So what we would like to do in our community is show people a model, a way to make a business where you can make a living, and a good living, if you find the right markets for the products that you raise, that there is a demand for that, and it can be done in this area because we've done it.
The best thing about living in a small town, I'd say probably knowing everybody. So that's a good thing because you're just reassured, I guess, that it's a safe town when everybody knows everybody.
The solution to the success of our region could lie in the minds of tomorrow's leaders. Because of technology, they're growing up in a global neighborhood.
If we want the community to improve, we have to help them to improve the community.
I think it's essential that young people are involved in leadership activities at a really young age.
Preparing our talented youth for leadership roles here will be an important step to building a successful future for us all.
I don't want to see these small towns go away. I don't want to see these small schools go away either.
One of Western Nebraska's most valuable resources is the people who live here.
People come into our retail shop and they'll say, you know, I heard I just had to come in here. And that makes me feel good. I mean, there's so much to be proud of. And I feel like we've been added to that list. That's a great feeling.
There are successful businesses in this region, both large and small. Entrepreneurs and students could benefit from their knowledge.
I really do think that there's lots of potential here for the right scenarios. People that might not have thought, oh, I could do that there.
I think that the people in the Panhandle are passionate about the Panhandle. I think they're passionate about their own communities. I really think if we could do an awareness, bring it home that it's doable, and that there are people out there that are willing to support it, I think the passion will make it go.
I would say, you know, to my generation, not to forget about who we are and where we came from.
Imagine the best things in our community, and then imagine them better.
You know, I think I will come back here or somewhere around this area. It's a small community, and I grew up here and my family lives here, and usually everybody knows who you are, and so it's nice to know that you have a community that cares for you.